Have you ever been on a team that's just stuck? Full of really smart, hardworking people, but for some reason, nothing ever seems to get finished? It's this super common frustration, but we don't always have a name for it. Well, today we're going to give it a name and, more importantly, figure out how to fix it.
Yeah, let that one sink in for a second. This question really just cuts right to the chase, doesn't it? Take a look at your own team. Do you have a whole bunch of owners, people in charge of strategy, ideas, and requests, but only one or two doers who are actually supposed to build the thing? If that sounds familiar, you're not just being inefficient. You might be crushing the very people who get things done.
And this is what it feels like on the ground. For that engineer, that designer, that writer, the person actually at the keyboard, a constant flood of, hey, quick question, or great new idea from strategy, from product, from sales, from the CEO. It's not collaboration. It feels like an attack, a constant barrage of interruptions and conflicting priorities. So what's really happening here? Because look, this isn't about bad people with bad ideas. It's usually the opposite. It's about good people with great intentions who have accidentally created a system that is fundamentally broken, a system designed to fail.
So it's time for a proper diagnosis. We're going to call this condition the inverse pyramid. Let's put up the x-rays and see exactly what's going on inside an organization suffering from this.
The core problem is something called input overload. And what I love about this framing is that it's not a people problem, it's a physics problem. You've got this massive, heavy weight of ideas and ownership, and it's all pressing down on one tiny single point. What happens when you do that? The foundation is guaranteed to crack. And this just illustrates that imbalance perfectly. On one side, you have all the strategy and requests. It is massive, it is heavy, and it's always growing. And on the other side, you've got your execution capacity. It's tiny, it's fragile, and for the most part, it's a fixed resource. I mean, this is the very definition of an unstable structure. It's a pyramid flipped upside down, teetering on its point. Now, the result of this imbalance isn't just a stressed out employee or a little burnout. No, the real hidden cost is way worse for the business. It leads to something called execution paralysis, a complete and total shutdown of any productive work. So what does this paralysis actually look like day to day? Well, this chart says it all. When a doer has 5 different bosses all giving them work, their actual job changes. They're not building or creating anymore. 100% of their time is now spent just managing people, juggling expectations, and constantly context switching, which we know absolutely destroys productivity. And here's the punchline. Here's the brutal, honest truth of all that managing. The amount of actual work that gets done, that gets shipped, it drops to 0. Nothing. The system is so busy managing itself that it can no longer produce anything. It's frozen solid. I mean, can you imagine being that person? This quote just captures the impossible situation perfectly. When everyone tells you their task is priority 0, then nothing is a priority. That person isn't failing to do their job. They're being put in a position where it's impossible to do their job. Okay, so how do you fix this? How do you rescue a team from this paralysis? Well, you don't try to fix the person. You have to fix the system. And the good news is, there's a cure. It's a surprisingly simple fix called the one funnel solution.
The whole philosophy behind the cure is about one thing: protection. You have to stop the direct, chaotic attacks on the person or team doing the work. You need to build a defensive wall, a buffer that allows them to actually focus.
And here's how you build that wall. It's a 5-step process. First, you set up a single funnel for every single request, no side channels. Second, you pick one person, a gatekeeper, usually a product manager or a team lead, to own that funnel. Third, every single owner now has to put their requests into the top of that funnel. Fourth, and this is the magic part, the gatekeeper prioritizes everything before it ever gets to the doer. And finally, step 5, only one prioritized task gets passed onto the doer at a time. This forces clarity, it forces focus. So, what does life look like once this system is in place? What happens when you go from that chaotic mess to this new, orderly world? Well, let's look at the road to recovery. It really is a journey from total paralysis to actual, tangible progress. The difference is just night and day. Before, you had chaos. You had multiple owners all shouting at one doer, and of course, nothing shipped. But after, you have order. The owners now have to talk and negotiate with the gatekeeper safely away from the doer. And because that doer is protected and focused, guess what? The product actually ships.
And this is the end goal, right? This is what it's all about. One focused doer or one focused team, shielded from all that noise, finally able to do what they were hired to do, build and ship great stuff, consistently. The engine is finally running the way it was meant to. So if you take away just one thing from all of this, please let it be this right here. If your team is struggling to get things done, resist that temptation to blame individuals. Take a hard look at your system first. Do you have an inverse pyramid? Because if you fix the system, you might just find you never had a people problem in the first place. The only question is, are you ready to change the system?